moving on to Friday, June 23rd, the Sun continues through Cancer and forms that sextile with the North Node, as we talked about earlier, in Taurus, with Jupiter in Taurus forming the sextile to Saturn. So they're both still at 7 degrees. Saturn and Jupiter. So if you have any key astrological points or planets at 7 degrees in water signs, earth signs, fixed signs, or mutable signs, you're getting a very powerful hit with Saturn and Jupiter that is helping you manifest what it is you want in your material reality. Now, the North Node also transiting through Taurus aligns with the Sun in Cancer. This is again reflecting on your past. Where do your values stem from? Where does your self-worth stem from? If you think you're not good at this or not good at that, is it because somebody told you that in the past? And maybe that's like what you just sort of adopted. Yeah, I've never been good at this. I've never been a good singer because this one time this happened, and you just adopted that as a fact.
But also, if you get the knowledge that you aren't good at something, that's some valuable insight. If that's an objective truth for yourself where you would like to be better at that skill, it's pretty crazy because there's classes for everything in the world. And if you don't feel confident and comfortable in the things that you want to have, that you would value in yourself, you can actually improve upon those things. So it's like you take stock of yourself and you're like, oh, you know what? I want to be a better dancer. I want to be a better salesperson. I want to be better at social media. Well, you can actually go acquire those skills. So then you can be more confident and you can value yourself more. And I think that's a game changer when we don't recognize maybe why we don't value ourselves. It's like if we felt more valuable, we would feel better. It's like, well, how do we feel more valuable? Working on the things that we covet in other people.
Yes.
We can have those same things for ourselves.
Yes. So where does that come from? Where does your sense of value come from?
I mean, I guess also, like you said, self-worth. It's like, am I worthy of investing in myself?
Yes. This is all about reflection, this Cancer energy, reflection. Like, and the alignment with the North Node is taking stock of your self-worth and what you value. And if you look at that and you feel like, I actually feel like I deserve more. I actually think that I'm better than how I've been thinking about myself. Well, where does that come from? You know, how can you go back into the past and be there for your younger self in those moments where somebody planted the seeds of doubt in your mind, in your heart, in your gut?
I mean, I think maybe, the first thing that just comes to my mind that I always would like to be working on that I'm not really working on is becoming a better dancer. I always watch all the other girls at work.
You bring that up a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I watch all the other, like a lot of the other girls at work. I'm like, wow, like I'll be like, oh my God, this girl only started 3 months ago, but she's obviously been working really hard. And I'm like, I never really work on my craft in that way. And so then I get like, oh, well, I'm not as good as I thought. Or like, I just have these things where I'm like, oh, I wish I had like a bigger repertoire of stuff. I mean, most girls are doing the same routine every single time, to be truthful. It's not like ever, they're like, yeah, I do the same routine every time I get on stage. Like, why would I do anything different? The guys don't fucking notice.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just something that brings
not.
me. They don't.
They're not like, oh wow, she's such a great dancer. That's why
she already did that move.
You.
How boring.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But then there was this girl on one of the girls' friends had come in, and we were like watching the girl on stage. We were just talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl's such a good dancer. Like she is incredible. Like she's the best dancer there. She has been in like pole competitions. She's incredible. Wow. And she's Russian. Like all the you don't usually see them at the club, but like if you're on Instagram, like all the amazing pole dancers, the Russian girls are just insane.
Really?
Yeah. This is like very acrobatic and like they just have a way. They're so graceful and like they're also like very classy. There's a whole art to it. So she was on stage and I was like, oh my God, she's like one of like one of my favorite dancers. I love watching her. And they're like, "Oh, like, can you do like pole tricks or whatever?" And I was like, "I mean, I know a couple." I went on stage. They were so sweet and so supportive, and like they all the girls like tipped me, which was really fun. And then I got off stage, and she was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You don't know any pole tricks. You're amazing." And I'm just like, I like forget. And then at the end of the night, some of the newer girls were trying to practice after we closed, and I was trying to help them with stuff. And I was like, "Well, didn't you know like pole stuff when you got here?" And I was like, "I don't feel like I know that much." But they're like, "Oh, I can't do any. How do you get to do any of those things?" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know anything when I started. I didn't know any pole stuff." And now I'm like, maybe somewhere in between, but I forget that I knew nothing before. And then, other girls are asking me for help, and like, people are looking at me in a certain light. So it's like actually being self-reflective. It's like, okay, well, did you look at where you came from? Have you worked on that thing at all? Are you better than you used to be? You can't be working on everything all the time at 100%. And just being aware of the progress you've made and appreciate yourself and not get too down on yourself when things aren't going as fast or as well as you want them to.
So I think astrologically speaking, we know why you're this way because you're a Virgo sun. And so obviously you don't think that you're that good of a dancer and you can't really do any pole tricks, but then someone else sees you and you're like, "Oh my God, that was so amazing. What do you mean you don't do anything?" But I think for you with this Cancer energy is like looking at the past, like where does this critical "I'm not good enough" or I'm not "I can never be as good as I want to be" or those sort of things, like where does that stem from for you? And how can you, be kinder to your past self when somebody put you down as a child or a teen or whenever it was, and it was reinforced multiple times after that first time? Now it's time for you to like go back and flip the script for your younger self. So I also want to say too that the Cancer energy, for those that were born with key astrological points or planets in Aries or Libra, this could be a challenging period for you. So really take it easy on yourself during this period of the sun in Cancer, Aries and Libra people. And that's not just for the people with the Aries sun or Libra sun. It's all the key points and planets. This is why I encourage you to really understand what planets are in what sign in your chart, what degree are they at, where is the sun transiting, when is it going to hit those planets in Aries or Libra. That is when there could be some challenges for you. Of course, if you don't know and you're curious and you want to know, you can contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com.